morning, everybody. I have my neck massaging thing. If you hear a noise, my neck is bothering me, so I'm using it to try and get out the knots. I couldn't sleep much last night, so this is what it is. Oh, make sure I take off notifications. There we go. Don't want it vibrating going zzz, 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 the whole time. So, I know it's early. Hopefully people will pop in. Oh, my allergies have been going crazy since yesterday. Actually, since Friday. Yes, I do. May as well. So, today is Sunday, and I go to church on Sunday most times. Our church time for the summertime, well, has it changed to 10:30 yet? I think it's 10:30, and then it's changing back to 10 o'clock, I think, for the summer combined service. We've another church that is getting their church renovated is using our church in the afternoon. In the summertime, most churches have low attendance because everybody's on vacation. So we are having it combined. I think that starts for July. I think that's next week it starts. So we're having our end of the year Sunday school social, which is fresh strawberries and ice cream, and the Sunday school kids serve it for the congregation, as well as it's combined with the summer barbecue, which it's raining today, so it could be difficult to be eating outside. So I gotta remember to bring my chair. I don't know if I'll be eating outside or I'm just gonna bring my lawn chair. I have a lawn chair bench that I will bring for to eat on from me and my two girls, and whoever else, because it could sit five. So, that is what we're doing today. So, hubby doesn't go to church with us, so he's going to go and fend for himself for lunch. And then we come home and we go to my in-laws for supper tonight. This weekend has been kind of crappy weekend. It's been raining on and off yesterday, which the garden needs it, so I'm not going to complain. Um, it did allow me to handle stuff in the house. So I've been doing laundry like a laundry banshee because I fell behind on doing laundry of like towels and stuff like that. So I've been doing all that yesterday. I think I have one more hamper of laundry to do, and then that's it. Well, unless my kids bring down their hamper. Abby brought down hers on Friday, but there wasn't much in there, so it was only like half a hamper. And Rowan brought hers last week, I think Wednesday. So both, I'm sure, have clothes that need to get done. Um, so that's what my goal for this weekend is, to get all the laundry done that is dirty right now, and then just keep up with it for the rest of the week of doing a load every day or every second day. I think I'm going to try and schedule my kids to bring down their laundry on specific days. Oops, my volume. Um, that way, I'm not doing both of theirs at the same time. So to keep, because my girls, since they wear pretty much the same thing, what I'm trying to do is have them bring down their laundry one day, and it gets washed, dried, and thrown back into their hamper, and they're supposed to be putting it away. That way I don't mix them up, because I never know whose clothes is whose. Some things they have matching stuff. Sometimes one has mediums that one picked up at the store, and what they've decided what's theirs. So I never quite know. And then that way I don't mix up like underwear and socks and all that stuff, because, you know, we try not to do that. The movie, there'll be some. Tuesday I'm busy. I have my volunteer work in the morning, and then I have an appointment at the mammogram clinic thing. They're checking my results and stuff like that, which is down by the Civic Hospital, which is, by the time I get done there, if I have to bus home, it'll take about an hour, hour and a half. So I said to hubby, we'll probably do the Han Solo movie that day, because then we can go out for supper, because I won't have supper ready. So my menu plan this coming week, I won't plan supper, but I'll probably plan lunches and stuff. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. Because normally I just plan suppers and we kind of wing it for lunch. But since hubby is home and my kids are home this week for summer vacation starts, I think I need to plan lunches and suppers. Oh, my back. Okay. So, but lunches tend to be whatever's left over, or they can make soup or whatever. I'm just happy that the good thing about summers is I don't have to argue with my kids and getting them up at a specific time to get to school, because that's and it just puts everybody in a bad mood in the morning, because my kids are not morning people. Well, they need to help and do their, and with that, gotta get some sort of system going. um, and try to get everybody on board. So I think that's what we're going to do today, is after church, and that we'll try and do a family meeting and try and say, okay, this is what needs to get done. What parts would you like to take on? Because they're old enough to be learning this stuff, and the problem is, I know it's partially my fault, because when they were younger, they were helpful, and then when school started, they and then things got harder in school, and both of them had a bit of learning disabilities. Well, my youngest was legally blind, so there was a lot more um, things that were needed to be done to get her reading up par, because she was doing large print. Well, when she was younger, she was doing large print, and like really large print, like 72-point font, braille in both English and French, because she was in French immersion. So there was a lot of schoolwork. So I let things slack off on what they did at school. I always had a bit of a learning disability, so just learning to read and stuff like that was difficult. So there's a lot more hands-on work that I did with them. And as the years went on, their schoolwork just took longer. So I had them concentrate on that. But in that, they still continue to live in the house and still continue to make a mess and not necessarily even pick up after themselves, which I'm just as bad. So, I mean, that's why I have things I have to deal with, which is bad enough that I take care of my own stuff. I can't take care and do it for everybody else too. So everybody has to just kind of participate in taking responsibility for just picking up stuff and then taking on a job, which I think will make my life a lot more easier and less stressful. And if they know what they're doing versus me just asking them randomly, there won't be as much arguing and stuff. I just gotta figure it out because my oldest is technically, he could be graduating next year and could be going off to college university. Whether she stays at home and does college university in the city or goes away, she needs to do stuff on her own. And she is capable because she babysits and she's capable of getting other kids to do their own homework and stuff like that and do their chores. And she does her fair share when she's there as well. She just doesn't always do it here. Actually, she's the one that's more helpful than her sister sometimes. But they each have their own things, and that's what we have to work on this summer. Because I want to be able to do the fun stuff, but I can't do all the fun stuff without the stuff at home getting done. So if they want to go to the pool or go hang out with friends and stuff like that, stuff needs to get done around the house too. So that is my goal, is to kind of sit down with them and figure out a plan that's mutually acceptable. Like it's not gonna be like Cinderella, don't worry about that. Heck, I can't even do Cinderella, you know, but it just gets overwhelming and it just gets just too much stuff. And see, this is the thing that's part of my problems is of the way that I was brought up and the way I was raised. I'm doing the opposite of what my parents did. So my parents, um, my mom didn't teach me how to do house cleaning or anything like that because she didn't really know herself. She said, like her mom tried to teach her some stuff, but she more was into fixing her car, changing the oil or whatever. So she did a mediocre job, and that my dad, on the other hand, he was like obsessive compulsive and like had OCD cleaning, like scrubbing and everything like that. But he didn't really teach. He just criticized when it wasn't good enough. So I tended to rebel as a teenager, and I lived with him for just forget my teenage years, my 14 till 17. Um, because my mom and I always argued, and we were too much alike. And the grass was greener on the other side. My dad had gotten sober. My dad had remarried. Um, things looked like a normal family-ish situation versus my dysfunctional family situation for all my formative years. And it was fine for a bit. But there was that, he went from like being passive, like extremely passive, to being like authoritarian, which didn't work for me being a teenager. I was not a bad kid, but I was not a perfect kid either, so I definitely like to argue. So, um, I'm glad that my kids haven't gotten in any trouble or aren't as bad as I was sometimes, but they like to argue too. And I don't know how to get them on par with helping out. Hey Nintendo! Long time no see. I've been chatting with myself for the last little bit. I know it's early. What are you doing today? Cool. Hey, Hardin and James, how's it going? Not too bad. I couldn't sleep last night, so I got up early this morning and took a bath. My neck is still a bit sore. I don't know. I slept on it weird this weekend. So I decided while I was doing some editing of videos, I'm like, well, I'll pop in and do a quick live stream. As I didn't do one yesterday, I was just busy. I was sharing what I was doing yesterday, doing laundry. Yeah, I got up about 5 our time, so now it's 8:15 right now. And I have nowhere that I need to be going until 10. Because we go to church, and our church service right now starts at 10:30. No, I'm not very good at editing video. So that's the thing. I use the Power Director program, and I haven't really learned how to do all the fancy stuff. And even just doing the minimum editing ha ha ha, I do, it takes like an hour to edit even like a 5 or 10 or 20-minute video. All I do is like I put the videos, the clips that I have together, I glue them together, I make a title, and that's what it. Oh, taking that at 6 p.m. to 8. Okay. Um, I use the Power Director app. Like, so I have videos of like clips and I glue them together. I don't really edit the ones that if I use my camera and I talk all in one shot, you don't really necessarily have to edit those. Well, you could, because sometimes I get sidetracked because adult with ADHD here, it's like squirrel, shiny, ooh, nice, shiny. Yeah. So I edit with Power Director. There is a free app of it, um, but you get a tiny watermark, I think, at the bottom, which isn't that bad. Some of the ones, they have the watermark like right in the middle of your um, video, and that's like crazy. You have ADHD. So this is the thing. When I was younger, when I was in college, when I was going to college, I got tested to see if I had like a learning disability because I swore I had a learning disability because certain things just didn't work. Right? It took me a long time, like took me a long time to study and read and for things to get stuck in my head and stuff like that. But I did the testing and they said I didn't. Okay, but I think it's because of my childhood of it being so dysfunctional that I had great coping skills. You know, I learned how to problem solve at a very young age. I learned how to kind of make do with the situation I was given. And um, so with schoolwork, I just kept on just plugging through. So I didn't have technically a learning disability, so that was it. But as I've gotten older and as I've had kids and have so much more responsibilities on my plate, I um, get overwhelmed extremely easy and get sidetracked and have lack of focus. Like sometimes I can focus on a specific thing, especially if I'm interested. If I'm not interested in something, it's really hard to get focusing on. Especially like cleaning and stuff. Unless it's a little thing of like, oh, I'm going to tackle this and make it look pretty and stuff. It's hard for me to get focused. Like laundry, the fact that I got laundry done, washed, it's not folded. It's washed, dried, and put in hampers. It still needs to get folded. I do most things like 90% done, and then I stop. It's like I run out of steam or something like that. No, I don't use Windows Movie Maker. I use Power Director. means we are smart but can't concentrate on things that aren't. Exactly, exactly. So, so that's why I can cook, but I can't. If I ever, my kids will go, oh, you should go on Master Chef or something like that, or Top Chef or something like that. I'm like, I can probably cook, but the time limit thing, I would so fail so bad. I have hard enough time to get supper on the table and everything warm at the same time for a specific time. You know, that's what microwaves are for. Oh, I'm like 21 gun salute sometimes in every direction. Oh yeah. Yes, and anxiety. I don't know. I don't know if I probably did have anxiety as a kid. I just didn't understand it. And now as an adult, I have anxiety. Like for example, the weird things I have anxiety over that are irrational. If someone rings the doorbell, if I'm not expecting somebody, I get anxiety. I probably won't answer the door. My phone rings and I'm not expecting a phone call. If I don't know the number, I'm not going to answer it. I don't like ordering takeout. So, like calling for a pizza, I will do it now, but when I was in my early 20s, I did not like doing that, and I wouldn't do it. I'd get hubby to do it or somebody else. If we were ordering pizza as a group, somebody else had to order it. I'm a gamer because that's part of my job, and I hate time things. Ah, yeah. So you get paid to do gaming? I wish I could get paid to do like cooking or grocery shopping. I love grocery shopping, but again, I can't do it in a timely fashion. It's your mind making things up. True. And and my childhood was very extremely dysfunctional. Um, I was like I'm sure I had like post traumatic stress from a lot of it because like both my parents were alcoholics and was always on eggshells and always like tried to not cause even noticing or problems and stuff. And when something did happen, you know, it got blown out of proportion and stuff. And so that's why I say, like with my kids, I do the opposite of what my parents did, which isn't necessarily the best thing, or the right thing. But I know that what didn't work with my parents, so I try and do the opposite. And you know, I still screw up. So, um, and now that I have teenagers, it's interesting trying to get them on board to do stuff around the house and stuff because I'm doing the opposite of my parents. I've tried to take on everything and be like a good housewife, like from like the 50s and 60s, and I fail enormously. You know, I'm doing, I can get some things done, but it's the finishing things. I get everything done to like 90%. And then I get overwhelmed, or I get sore, or I get, lost of where do I start. So, what time is it where you are, Hardin? Get mad easily, not because I'm actually mad because I get too much crabs. But exactly, you so understand. I guess get easily agitated, and it's not even it's like so. Sometimes, so this is my problem is I I let things go. Well, it's 5:23, so you're 3 hours earlier than us. So you're like in California type time, eh? Um, for me, it's like I'll let things go. I'll let things go because it's a little bit here, a little bit there, and it just piles up, piles up, piles up, and then it overflows. It's like blah, and it could be something completely insignificant, and then it's like afterwards I have to apologize because it wasn't that thing that was so bad. It was just everybody taking advantage of me or or not acknowledging what I've done, and it just going blah. Yeah, that too. And I've had to learn to cope with that and try and catch that feeling before I blow up, because nobody likes to be yelled at, especially for something that's not enough to get yelled at for. I'll just grab my coffee, which is too far. Oops. Can't do 8 things at once. Again, multitasking, not so great. As I spilled on my computer a bit. Sorry about that. Using a towel. You're not a morning talker. Oh, you're talking. Well, usually there's a few people in here, but I guess everybody's sleeping in on a Sunday. Because I have like 3 or 4 people that are early morning people. Yeah, which is not anybody's fault. And I have 2 teens, and my oldest is very sensitive in that type of thing. So I try and catch myself. And I don't know what it is. When my kids were smaller, it was much easier to keep my cool because they were small, and I had lots more patience when they were smaller, like extremely more patience. Now, as they're teenagers, I figure they're old enough to know better, and I don't have patience. Maybe each person only gets so much patience, and I used it all up when they were small. Do you have any kids, Hardens? They don't necessarily make me mad. It's more of when they don't acknowledge, um, when they don't acknowledge what you're doing, or they take advantage of it, or not taking responsibility for their own actions or their own mess. You know, I think that's the biggest thing is the mess, because it's now like 4 people doing the mess in the house, and there's really one and maybe a half tidying up. Well, people who act stupid are not. Because why do they go so stupid? Ah, yes. Oh, there's that too. I find you find a lot more of that on YouTube. There's a lot of there's a lot of haters on YouTube, and a lot of people who like putting other people down. And that's not who I am. I try not to do that. I try, if anything, lift people up and try and have them grow. Versus some people pop in and all they do is criticize, or oh, you're doing this wrong, or oh, you're doing that wrong. Like, I don't mind somebody commenting on my videos, oh, you should have done, I do this differently, maybe try that next time. Hey, that's great, because I'm not perfect. I have nowhere in my channel saying I'm perfect, or watch me, I'm a professional. I'm not a professional anything. YouTube, but remember, YouTube's outlet for people. Some people have no life. Yes, we on a friend of mine's channel, there is a person that is all they do. So there's a person that first tried to friend her, and then has made multiple accounts that have gone onto her live streams or onto her videos, given them thumbs down, reported her videos, like her scrambling eggs. I don't know what's there to report. And just made her life pretty much a living HE double hockey sticks, you know, for no reason, because they are literally at home alone 24/7. They have a disability. They have a nurse that comes in like once a day type thing. And this is their entertainment, if you want to call it such. Coffee. Or just dumb. Don't look at them. Let's make a video. You mean make a video of the trolls? Or of the reporting? Okay. And there's some channels out there too that they I'm I've subscribed to a few of them, and some I've unsubscribed for because all I find on their channel is they'll do live streams hating on somebody else, and that's all they do is like bitching and complaining. Yes, reports go. I know when I've had to report um, an actual person who was being like a troll in my channel and like saying very rude and bad things, and I reported them. I don't think anything ever was done. Like I put them in timeout, and then I reported them. Okay. Yeah. Well, somebody else's channel. I think it's 50 ducks in the hot tub got shut down. I think twice because of groups of vegans that were complaining that his ducks were going to be harvested to feed people. Well, that's what ducks are for. Those ducks um, live actually a wonderful life, especially for ducks. They're well treated, they're well cared for, they're well fed. They have vets coming in for whatever they need. And at the end of their production life, they get harvested to be donated to the Shepherds of Good Hope for feeding the homeless, which I would think is a good thing. But he got shut down or blocked or whatever twice because there were a bunch of vegans that were out there that were not liking it. Some people say they get shut down to get views. True. There's been a few channels I've seen that have posted videos of them getting blocked or anything. And I'm like, how are you getting blocked when you're producing videos on a daily basis? I don't know what's blocking you. You know? Yeah, there's, and sometimes they'll post videos just to get a reaction. They'll post videos that's politically motivated or um, alternate lifestyle motivated or religious motivated or whatever, so that people pop in to get reactions. True, true. Their streaming capability, so if they did a live stream. So what have you been up to this weekend, Hardens? You haven't posted any videos recently. I just popped over to your channel. It's been about a month. I don't know. It's the ADHD. I got distracted to whatever. No problem. I was asking you what your plans were for this weekend. New phone sucks. I got me a Samsung 7. Uh, my husband for work just got, I think it's a Samsung 7. It's the year he was checking the accessibility stuff for it. That's his work phone. He had a BlackBerry Priv before that and was doing the accessibility stuff on that. I have just a OnePlus One brand, so it's a cheaper Android phone. I absolutely love it. I only paid a couple $100 for the phone, and I think, does my phone have an SD card drive? I think it does. I'm trying to think if mine does. I know it has I think 32 gigs of storage on the phone or something like that. I think there's an SD card drive too. I'm trying to remember. It's cheaper. Yes. Well, you don't need to. So you can have it. I think it's 32 gigs. Wait, let's see. I'm going to Google it. I don't know how much the OnePlus One is. 16 gigs, 32. I know it's more than like the 2 or 8 ones. OnePlus. Yeah, no, there's a SD card that you could add. I don't know if it's on this one or on the blue phone. I had a blue phone before. Let's see. Yep, my hubby got. Well, it's long and skinny. It's skinnier than my phone. The new Samsung he got for work. Yeah, that's what I say. They have it like an add-on. So I think it's like 16 or 32. Might be a 16, and then you can add on more. I just know I can hold a lot of stuff on it. And we got it for 200 something, I think, instead of like 700. And it's a little bit, this one's a little bit older because there's now a OnePlus 6 I just saw on the website. I'm like, whoa. But it's still, um, oh yeah, for sure. Our whole family is Android. Samsung's good if you're going for a name brand, but if you want to go for a non-name brand, you can get them much cheaper too. They're not Samsung, but Android. Because Android is 90% of their stuff is either free or cheap, like their apps. They're transferable from phone to phone versus with iPhone, you sometimes have to repurchase some stuff every time you get a new phone. Um, and their phones are like twice as much, and their apps are twice as much. And some of the apps that you do for like accessibility and stuff like that for various disabilities, excuse me, are completely free with Android. Well, with iPhone, it's they're expensive if they even have them. Mess up your phone when it goes down. I don't know. We've rebooted our phone. We've put my husband's a techie, so we've put in um, different operating systems and upgraded our phones past what they normally can be upgraded to by going into their ROM and stuff like that, and adding different newer operating systems. Exactly. Android works with everything, even with Apple. Some of the stuff. Well, Apple only works with Apple. Hey, good morning, Jacob. You're awake. As I was sharing with Jacob, my husband's in accessibility with the government, and he was saying that there's a program on your over the chat, and it will read it to you. Like on Android, you can go into accessibility features and turn talkback on, and it would read stuff. That's what my husband and my daughter does. Um, but with iPhone, you can go in accessibility features, and you can get like they have a talkback type program. I can't remember what it's called, but it could read the text, but it's not as great as the Android version. Yes. Well, I mean, for an iPhone, the phones are like $1,000 or more, right? My phone, $300. My husband's phone is more because like it's for work and work paid for it too. The newest Samsung, it was the newest Samsung. I think it's S or 8 or whatever. Exactly. Mine's 300. And I think that's what taxes. It does the same thing. So when I break it, because I've broken like 4 phones. Either broken the whole, like my last phone, I broke the SIM card box on it that stopped reading the SIM card. Yeah, well, I mean, it's, I think with tax, it's also Canadian too. So 300 might, you can get in the States for cheaper. So 200 and something. Yes, so that was the thing. So my old phone, so my husband has the same phone. It's his backup phone. We ended up switching it out because he uses it just for audiobooks at home and stuff, so he doesn't need the SIM card because he has his SIM card in his work phone. Um, so we just switched it out versus buying a new phone. But this one, um, I had taken the SIM card out to put in my daughter's phone, um, and somehow I scratched the inside of my phone hole where the SIM card thing is, and it didn't allow my phone to read my SIM card. So my SIM card was fine because both my teenagers do not, they have cell phones, but they do not have SIM cards, so they just use it for the Wi-Fi. Yes, yes, that does suck, and that's a Samsung feature. Mine has a little tool. It pops out of a little drawer. And if you don't have the tool, you can get wire from like the dollar store that you use for floral wire, and it pops in that hole too. Well, I scratched the SIM card and I scratched the SIM card hole in the phone because I went to go and replace the SIM card, which cost like $10 to get a new SIM card. And we tried it in my phone, it didn't work. We tried it in the phone at the plate, like the guy's phone, his own personal phone popped out his. I don't know. It took extra special skill because I was kind of putting it in and I scratched it somehow. Um, I don't think my phone audio sucks. I use my phone to play video games on here, like ones on Facebook and stuff like that. I listen to audiobooks. I watch YouTube. I do Excel sheets and Microsoft Word things with it. I mainly do stuff like that on my computer. I have a little laptop, but my laptop doesn't have a camera. We didn't realize that when we bought it. We bought it refurbished, so it's a pretty good laptop, but we only paid a couple $100 to LTE phone. Cool. Yeah, we actually have a couple of old phones that we call them bricks because they don't work anymore. That I have to bring to the recyclers. Well, one still technically works, but it's been cracked. My daughter's phone cracked. She dropped it when she was hiking, and pieces of glass like came out of it. And it's one of the ones that we brought to the repair spots to see if they can replace it. It's one of the ones that they can't replace. One that the government provides to homeless people free. Oh, the government actually provides cell phones to homeless people? I don't know if ours does that. I know I know if you're in a shelter, you might be able to get one. Well, nothing wrong with buying one. It just means it's a cheaper phone. Well, that's cool. I still have some flip phones downstairs. LOL. But I don't know if I have the charging cords to go with them. Oh, okay. Yes, I think they're called now burner phones, those type phones. But yeah, I still have a flip phone downstairs, or two. One's an Ericsson and one's a Virgin Mobile one. They were my first cell phones. My husband, though, he had cell phones before that were bigger, like they looked like bricks, as well as he had pagers back 20 some odd years ago. No, why? I actually liked the flip phone because it covered the keys, and I very rarely pocket dialed. With my cell phone, I have a case that has a cover over it that I could put some cards in because I tend to pocket dial. I don't know why. Why did Motorola make flip phones? Oh yes. Well, they did. They did look like Star Trek communicators. No, let's go put you down for a second. I want to grab coffee. Versus trying to spill my coffee again. Yeah, if you look at Star Trek or all those sci-fi movies from the 50s, 60s, we've surpassed a lot of those ideas on most things, like beyond measure. But other things we haven't. Like, there's no flying cars. There's no, like, universal government, or if anything, it's gotten more crazy. Yeah, well, see, my husband's computer guy, right? So we have a graveyard, a computer graveyard downstairs. We have zip drives. We have floppy disks. We have the original, like the big ones, the 5 1/4 floppy disks, and drives that on old computers for that. We have tape drives. Yeah, I still have a black rotary phone upstairs, not plugged in. Actually, is it upstairs or is it in my? I'll be right back. I think it's in the playroom, in the craft room. I brought it downstairs. Very retro. I'll be right back. Look, it weighs a ton. Hello, tropical aquariums. See, this met very retro black rotary phone. Hello, hello, hello. But this thing weighs like 5 pounds. You can't throw this across the room. Yes, that's a weapon. It's like made of steel. And this one. Hey Google, what is area code 204?
According to Wikipedia, area codes 204 and 431 are the North American telephone area codes for the Canadian province of Manitoba, encompassing the province.
Okay, that's weird. So this one has area code 204, and there's a phone number on it. But my family that I know of has never been to Manitoba. My family's from Montreal, like my mom's family lived in Montreal and Ottawa and Elmer that I know of. So where area code 204 came from, I have no idea whose phone this is. Yes, intruder. Oh, who needs weights? Just use this to lift it up. Like it weighs like 5-10 pounds. And the dial thing to turn it up loud or quiet. Yeah, cause see, there's the phone number. It's on there. To area code 204, which is Manitoba. Yeah, so Manitoba has so less people in it that the area code is for the whole province. You know, Ottawa, we finally got two. We have now two area codes for our city, 613 and 343, I believe. We've upgraded because we've ran out of numbers. But 204 for the whole province. That says a lot. Most cities have one area code for multiple, like, the small townships and stuff, for multiple townships. Toronto, I think, has like 4 or 5, but they are like billions. Yes, Manitoba's all woods. Never, never been to, no, I've never been to Manitoba. Because I once flew from here to Calgary and then drove, well, not me, but the person I was with, drove from Calgary to BC and back. Yes, you live in Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is also a bunch of smaller cities. Like, I don't know if there's any cities that are 1 million people. Hey Google, what's the population of Ottawa?
The population of Ottawa was 947,000 in 2014.
So Ottawa was 947,000 in 2014. So we weren't even 1 million yet. We might be now. The first connection in the area with a 5-digit number. Very cool. My parents talked about how when they were kids, my mom did when they were kids, there was party lines. So you'd pick up the phone and you'd have to wait to get to call the operator and call somebody. But other people could be hearing your conversation, so they're party lines if they're held up the phone. Has town with the same name. It's also, yeah. And my grandparents back in the day, back when because they were my grandmother was born in 1908, and my grandfather was born in like 1912 or 13, right? That was like before phones were even popular. When they got phones in their town, everybody went to one person's house to wherever the phone was and to use the phone. Like my parents didn't have a TV. My grandparents didn't have a TV until it was quite popular because those things were expensive. But you called and you called and you got an operator to call another to. You didn't even have a number. You found them, Can I call James Cook in Manitoba, please? Okay, let's find James Cook in Manitoba. Here's his number. Like, here, I'll connect you. Didn't have a number half the time. Like when I was born in Bahamas, and um, my mom said like when I was born down there, they didn't really have people didn't have like electric washers and dryers. They just didn't have that. They had the washer wringer, So she would. It was electric though. She'd wash stuff and then you'd put it through the wringer and would squeeze out the water. And then you had to hang it up to dry. There was no dryers when I was a baby, and I'm not that old. Now there was dryers here in Canada, but not in the Bahamas. Probably because it's so hot there that they don't need it to have a dryer. And their fridges were small. You check out my fish to see. I have checked out your, not recently, I have checked out your fish. You have beautiful fish tanks. Horrid fish? Oh, horrid, okay. You have like the cleanest fish tanks. Oh, somehow I got unsubscribed from you, Tropical Aquariums, so I just resupported you. I'm like, I know I was subscribed to you before because I've seen your videos. Well, that's good. My dad was big on fish tanks. He had fish tanks a couple of times. He had saltwater fish ones sometimes, and then freshwater ones. And then he had the snails and those little sucker fishes. 555, awesome and cool. What's 555? Well, it's been nice chatting with everybody on here. I have to start getting ready soon for church and get things going. So everybody have a wonderful day, and feel free to check out my other channels. I just went and supported you again, Tropical, and I'm watching a video of yours. Beautiful fish. Beautiful. No problem. I love watching fish. It's very relaxing and calming. Um, but I'll be on tomorrow, I believe, tomorrow morning. I will do a live stream. But I'll also be uploading some videos soon. Hopefully, I'll get them all edited. And you can follow me on my low spend journey and how that's going. I think I'm going to be extending it for July as well, but not as tight as a budget. Just because I still need to eat a lot of food from my freezer, which just keeps on getting refilled with stuff leftovers. Awesome. Well, I'll be live probably tomorrow about 7:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so whatever time that is for you. So have a great day. Nice chatting with everybody. Share the love. And that's about it. Bye, friends.